welcome to the Book Fix Podcast, a podcast where we fix lives one book at a time. I'm your host, Cheli.
And I'm your host, Yajaira. And we are feeling a little stressed.
We're at the end of the year and the stress is too much.
The stress is too much. It's overwhelming. I feel like I can't carry it anymore because Cheli and we have to compile our list of 5 stars. And I don't know if you're the same way, Cheli, but sometimes I'll read a book, immediately give it 5 stars because I'm like, yeah, this is the best thing I've ever read. Forget it in a week. And then it'll be the opposite where I'm like, didn't love it. Yeah. But then it is a 5-star because I can't stop thinking about it. So I'm going to have to go through all of my reads and realize who is my 5-star. And then they're all going to battle it out. Battle Royale.
It's so weird because this year felt like it went by super quick. Then I look back at my read list. And the first book I read this year was Gideon the Ninth. And that feels like I read that a lifetime ago.
Gideon the Ninth? No way. Wait, let me look at mine.
Because on the 31st, I remember it. On the 31st, I finished reading Inheritance Games. And then on the 1st, I read Gideon the Ninth.
There's no way Gideon the Ninth was the first book. For me, anyway.
For me, it was.
Maybe you. I don't remember. Sorry, this is just refreshing and refresh. This is a long list.
What was your first book of the year?
The
Holy Bible.
How'd you know? Weird. It says it's The Honeymooners.
Whoa! Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's old.
Yeah. The Honeymooners was my first one.
But isn't it crazy? Because that feels like a lifetime ago. Because that was a good book. Not The Honeymooners. Sorry. Didn't mean for the confusion. Gideon the Ninth for me was a good book.
That was so right, yeah.
I'm sorry to both Christina and Lauren.
Don't confuse anybody, okay? The Honeymooners is not good. We do not recommend.
What if I was like, sorry, Christina. Fuck you, Lauren. Sorry.
That was a joke.
No hate to either of them.
That's literally hilarious.
It's fine. I'm sorry, Christina.
That was Lauren. A joke. And Lauren, of course. That was a joke, 100%.
But like I was saying, it's just weird because there were so many good reads this year that I don't even know how I'm going to break it apart because they don't fall under the same category at all.
Yeah. I think same for me. Everything is just so different from each other that I don't know. Obviously, I feel like my number one has to be a romance. That's my main.
I think I know what your number one's gonna be.
Oh my gosh! Should we guess each other's number one? Not right now. And then in the next.
Okay, in the next one, I have to think about it. I gotta
episode. Wait, I thought you just said you think you know who was gonna be my number one.
I think I know, but then I think about the other ones we read for the podcast, and I'm like, oh shit, that was this year. So it's weird. I'm gonna have to look back.
Guess? I have a guess for you.
I was gonna say Hollow Vows, but then I remembered that this year we read Woven Kingdom.
Oh yeah, that was this year. My god!
And you love that book, so
yeah, I still do actually.
Why did you say it in past tense?
Why did you say it in past tense if I still love that book?
I can hear you holding up your fist. What are you trying to say about me?
What are you trying to say, huh? You want to fight? Yeah, no. I don't right now at the moment I don't know who my top book is. I don't know yet. But my guess
the year we read Under the Whispering Door.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be your top book. Unless it is. I just feel like you would pick. What do you think
my top book is?
I think you would pick something that's more like your vibe.
Just say Heartstopper. I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I would. You know, it's so funny because I would guess Heartstopper, but then I was also going to guess Dragon's Bride by Katie Robert.
Oh my god, the second one came out, by the way.
Yeah, you would know that.
Curse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't
love
put it on Kindle Unlimited already. I don't know.
Oh, okay. See, because you love that whole series, that whole vibe. That's you.
You know what? I'm not even gonna deny it. That book, Dragon's Bride, hella slapped. Wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. You know. Thank you.
That doesn't make any sense, but okay, that's fine.
What
it's
a
fine.
good review. We do this for a living, guys. Wasn't good, but wasn't bad.
No, yeah. So, and that's gonna have 5 stars above it. So
I know.
Doesn't it?
It has 5 stars, but on the review I write 1 star. Like, keep them guessing.
It's like 1 minute it's 5, and the next it's 1. I'm not sure. But definitely stay tuned for our episode when we talk about all of the great 5-star reads that we devoured this year. Because we're also going to do it based on the podcast. So I feel like we should pick one for the podcast of the year and then a personal one.
So we should have 2 in total?
Yeah, I think so. We're going to fight for sure. This is gonna be a fight.
Okay. That sounds good. I'm excited.
So next week we're also gonna be in a boxing ring.
I know. It's weird. This is actually our first boxing match too. We're also late. It's just everyone's in boxing now. We're not selling tickets. It's just gonna be me, Yajaira, and Yajaira's mom. Thank you. She's gonna videotape for us.
She's like, "You're doing great, sweetie." But let's get into today's read. Yeah, what are we reading today, Cheli? Or talking about?
Dipping. We're double dipping.
Because
we are reading another book by Aiden Thomas, and it is Cemetery Boys.
Yep, which is so crazy because when we went to Y'all Fest, I can't remember. I believe Aiden Thomas was there.
Really?
I'm pretty sure Aiden Thomas was there because if you remember when we were like out, like sitting near that like quad area where like there was like a panel going on with a bunch of authors, I vividly remember someone saying to Aiden Thomas, "Thank you so much for writing this story. This story literally resonates with me," and like seeing a main character who's trans and still so lovable and so amazing, and you know, creating a relationship the way that they did meant so much to her. And obviously, like, we hadn't read Cemetery Boys, and we never read anything from Aiden Thomas, so this is kind of like full circle that we're finally reading it.
I wish present me can go to Y'all West again. There were so many authors that are there that I like now.
Oh, I know. Dude.
I didn't take advantage.
I know. But I feel like
right?
Of course. Well, next year technically.
Yeah.
Dude, but I feel like we found out about the event so last minute that now we're going to be ready. Like by the time that the lineup is announced, or, you know, the panels are announced, all the authors and everything, I feel like we will be reading their books.
I think so too. We'll be ready. We'll attack.
Exactly.
But we are talking. Thank you. We are talking about Cemetery Boys. I'm going to try to give a spoiler-free summary. So if you would like to go read it, I suggest you do, because we are just going to spoil after my spoiler-free summary. So I'll try my best. I'm just going to wing it. Our story revolves around Yadriel, who is a trans teenage boy, and he comes from a family of brujas and brujos and wants to also be considered a brujo since he is also a boy. But because of his upbringing being very... I don't know. Is he Latino?
Yes.
I'm guessing
I think he is Latino. And so they're very traditional. And so he's definitely breaking that norm, right? That thinking of theirs.
Yes, he is. Because of that, he's not allowed to perform normal brujo traditions, and he gets really fed up. So this story actually has to do with the disappearance and murder of his cousin Miguel. When Miguel goes missing, of course, the brujos are already out looking for him, but they don't let Yadriel help. So Yadriel takes it upon his own hands to try to find Miguel. But instead of summoning Miguel, he accidentally summons another spirit. And with the help of this other spirit, they try to find out what is happening with that spirit's untimely death, along with the untimely death of his cousin Miguel.
Yeah, that was a good summary. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we would definitely recommend this book if you like paranormal romance, if you like queer stories. It had Latino representation, all that fun stuff. Oh, and YA stories, of course. But now we're at the part, I think our favorite part of the episode, where we have to guess what the other person would rate it, because Cheli and I, we don't talk about these stories before we start filming. So I want you to guess first, because I think I guessed in the last one first.
Well, you did tell me before this call that you don't remember much of this story. And I don't know.
That's because I literally read this when we decided we were going to talk about it.
I know, you read it a while ago, and it's been a while for me too, but I feel like you would have remembered this if you liked it more. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't think you hate it. I think you like the characters, and I think you like the story. I don't know. That just kind of threw me off. I'm going to just guess that you did like it, though. Overall, I think you enjoyed our main characters, the three, a lot. And because of that, I think you would give it... I'm going to just go for it. I'm going to go for it. I think you gave it a 5.
Wait, what?
I think you gave this a 5. Because I don't know, because you either really hate this and you were like, I don't remember anything. If you hadn't said that when we started the call, I would have been like 5, of course. But obviously. Now I'm like, what if you fucking hate this and you're like 1, 0?
and you know what? I don't even remember their names.
Why did you have to say that? You psyched me out.
No, because I wanted to be honest. Like, I didn't have any time. I literally had a final recently. I had no time to go through our books, because we were supposed to film this like weeks ago. So we decide what books we're going to talk about, you know, like ahead of time, but we have like a date, like a set date where we're supposed to talk about it. So I literally I read it and thinking like, oh, I'm still going to remember this, but I've been, you know, cramming, studying.
Oh yeah, so that was a busy week.
There was no way that I was going to be able to talk or consume this story during the time that was probably ideal. So I am going to be honest. I don't remember all of the details, but I feel like I remember the main parts.
Okay. That's good enough for me. I really hope my guess isn't wrong. I'm going to say 5. But if it's not 5, a 1. I don't think there's any in between. Oh my God.
You go one or the other. One extreme to the other.
No, I think you liked it. Because if I remember correctly, we both like Sunbearer Trials.
Right. And so what you're saying is, because we both like Sunbearer Trials, we're both going to like Cemetery Boys. So what you're telling me is that because you think that I would give this a 5, you're going to give it a 5, right?
No comment.
I think that here's my guess, and this was already my guess before you even said anything. I think that you enjoyed the plot of the story. I think that you really enjoyed the paranormal romance. I don't know if you love what ends up happening, like the reveal, you know what I mean? Like the reveal of the paranormal romance. Because when I got to that point, that part of the story, I did think to myself, I don't know if Cheli's she's gonna vibe. I don't know if she's gonna love.
She's down to clown. Yeah.
I think Cheli would. Spoiler alert! I'm just gonna say
she likes her guys more tangible than that.
No. I'm thinking the opposite. I was like, I think Cheli prefers her guy dead. I don't know. Like, it's so weird. I literally was like, I don't know. Cheli wants him to be alive.
Can you imagine
right now.
us going drinking, just casual talk? You know what? I'm gonna say it. I don't really like this corporeal form. It's like, damn bitch, you go.
Speak your truth. It's just like the reveal that I was like, I don't know if you're gonna love it, but I feel like you do love, first of all, the representation in the book. I think it's very important, especially to see it in YA. I think you love the Latinx representation as well. And see, it's hard because like I want to guess a 5 and I am going to guess a 5, but then I'm also like, oh, there's certain things where I'm like, oh, I don't know if you're going to love this one part, but I'm going to say a 5. A 5.
Okay.
Or a 4.8. 4.6.
Actually, let me take it back to the lab. I'll come back to
1.5. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I would guess around like a 5. 4.8 to a 5.
Well, I'm very excited to talk about this one because of
you
the
love
Latin
it.
representation. No, I was actually going to make a TikTok today talking about this because I never knew how validating it is to read a book that like has things that I can relate to.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Isn't it so weird? I don't know. Like, even the moments where Yadriel would just have moments with his family, like, or talk to his grandma or whatever, like, things that they would say to each other, I was like, damn, I feel like I'm in this family.
Yeah.
It feels so tangible to me.
Yes. There was 2 moments that made me feel like that. The moment where Yadriel had to distract the abuelita because
oh my God,
Julian
yes.
was leaving. And he was like, okay, I gotta distract him. And he's like, I'm not feeling well. And everyone turns, oh my gosh, mijito, where's the vaporub? Like, we need to go get
Quick, rub it.
And they're already like trying to take off his shirt.
I know that every like Latino, most Latinos call it vaporub, but
Yes.
we've always called it Vicks. So when I hear people say vaporub, I'm like, I know what you're talking about. But like my family calls it Vicks.
Yeah, we call
so
it
like,
Vicks also.
So it's like, grab it and rub it all over your back. Oh yeah, because she wanted to rub it all over his back. And I was like, damn, that's my abuela.
That's
Hashtag my abuela
family too. That part freaking spoke volumes to me. And then, wait, there was another section.
But even like, I don't know. It's really sad. But even like the parts where his grandma would slip up and like kind of address him as, you know, like the dead name and then him as a female. Like, it's not, you know, obviously I can't relate to that moment specifically, but I can relate to like family being so like tough love. Because I feel like you can also relate to that where it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like trying to like brush it off kind of, where it's like, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal.
The complexities of this family, like their dynamic, was so well written. And that grandma was, I feel like, the most well written because I don't know if you remember at the beginning where she addresses Yadriel and then Yadriel's like, oh, you know, Yadriel's my name. And the abuela was just like, yeah, Yadriel. Pero siempre vas a ser mi mijita. Like, you're always going to be my little girl. And it's like,
I know.
And because
I do remember that.
I think about how I would react. And Yadriel reacted the same way where it's like, well, I can't say shit because it's my grandma. And she's trying to make the situation better, but she's not.
It's like you want to give him the benefit of the doubt where it's like, okay, she's loving. She's trying to be loving, even though she's fucking up, you know, like she's not really accepting him as he is. And, but at the same time, it's like, we know our family. It's like, even though they're fucking up, we still think like, well, they're kind of trying, right? Sort of. I don't know. I just feel like I can relate to certain attitudes that Yadiel has to deal with.
I fucking loved it. And fucking A+ for Aiden Thomas not translating all the Spanish. I thought that was really good.
Oh my God, I love that too. I seriously loved it too. I was like, there were certain words, I can't remember what words that were in Spanish that I was like, I wonder if people are even gonna know what the hell that is because there was no context. Like, how are they gonna like figure it out? You have to literally Google it.
There was a part where Jules was singing Como la Flor, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
I was like,
remember
oh
that,
my God, imagine reading this not knowing what that song is.
Who doesn't know Selena?
You'd be
Doesn't know
surprised,
her.
dude.
I guess maybe now.
Because we grew up with it. So it's
Yeah.
different. But like I was saying, after I had read this book, I made a lot of posts and kind of just held on to them. Because it's weird, because I don't think there's many books that are really for our community that are YA or that are
Yeah.
fantasy or things like that. So it felt very like nice.
Even the queer representation though, because obviously like we know how traditional some Latino households are. So I feel like seeing the main character, you know, being trans and, you know, being gay, it's like we can understand like the struggles that he's going through and then having to, I don't know, I guess having to be himself in a family where they would rather him not, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really loved going through that journey with Yadriel.
How did you feel about Yadriel as the main character?
I really liked him. I thought he was funny. I loved being I don't know, because there was moments where I think it was with Julian, where he would say things and I was like, oh my God, he's literally, I don't know, like I really liked him as a main character. And I liked that he was trying so hard to prove himself to his family because I thought that was very relatable, that he wanted to show them that, oh, he can be a brujo, because brujos, it's different from the brujas, right? Like, I think they prefer like brujex as a general term.
Yes.
But they are able to partake in like rituals and certain things that, you know, his dad didn't really want him to partake in. So I liked seeing how full of conviction he was. Like, I liked seeing that he really wanted to show to everyone, even to himself, that he could be this brujo.
Yeah. I fucking loved Yadriel so much. So much. I thought his character was so, like, such a good main character because of how, I guess, confident yet insecure of how they are. And
yeah,
it's such a polar opposite to Jules. Completely. So
Jules was so funny though. It's so funny to me because the brujas are able to like, well, she's like a healer, no? Or she could be a healer.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, you have to like, you know, animal blood. And she's like, I'm a vegetarian, so no. Sorry, can't do that.
Maritza, right? That was her name?
Oh yeah. Was that her name?
Yeah, Maritza.
Oh yes, Maritza. Oh my God. Sorry,
friend.
I like blinked out. Yeah. I literally thought they were siblings with the way that they acted.
I know. I loved it. They had such a cute dynamic. And then
They were cousins though, right?
I think they were cousins. And then Jules being like put into that dynamic was so funny. Because Jules is fucking dead. And it was funny because one of the things he says is like, oh my God, I'm dead. My brother's going to kill me. And Maritza's like, oh, well, someone beat him to it.
I thought that was so funny too. Maritza had some really good lines.
Oh yeah, she did. She was such a good friend too. Oh my God.
And she's so supportive to Yadriel, which I thought was great because he definitely needed that support system.
Oh my gosh. Talking about support system. Yadriel didn't really have much of that in his family. And you see it, like, you know, the abuelita, his dad, Enrique. But he has a tío whose name is Tío Catriz. And he is kind of like a rejected brujo because he was born with no powers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because of that, this tío is always there for him because it's like, oh, we're both, you know, shunned from the family for different reasons, but we both got each other, right? And
so they really had a bond together because they both felt like they were the rejects of the family. So there was a lot of moments where Yadriel was feeling hurt because of his father's rejection, and then he like walks out and his tío is there, and they would have a moment where it's like his tío would just like know that he needed him, you know? So he was his support system for a minute.
And I loved the tío so much. I love that dynamic. I will say, I don't want to say it just yet, but I had no brain cells going in this story. I just consumed. So I love the tío so much.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that. You always say that.
I just like to read it. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't guess. I just read.
I don't know. I mean, I don't like to guess either, but I feel like there's certain things that happen in stories where it's like, oh, I know where this is going. Like, I know where this is going to take me. The journey that I'm on, don't love it because I know the ending.
Wait, I want to skip forward because, like I said, his cousin Miguel dies, and it's so
R.I.P.
sudden. And it's like, it's sudden to the point where it takes Yadriel a second to be like, oh my God, I'm never going to see him again. Like, it's so weird that it happens so suddenly. And it's a young cousin too. I think they said he was 23. And the thing that's weirder is that no one knows where his body is because he had died in the graveyard, but he wasn't there. So they're confused. And
so they're trying to communicate with him as well, but no one is able to.
Exactly. But like I said, Yadriel's dad did not want him to be part of this because in Enrique's eyes, it's like, oh, you're not a brujo. You have to stay with all the other brujas. And it was very fucked up of the dad to say that. But
yeah, it was.
Yadriel was like, you know what? I'm going to have my own. It's like a quince. It's like a ritual that's supposed to be like, oh, you're an official brujo. Yadriel was going to throw his own ceremony and basically try to summon Miguel's spirit, but does a very bad job. But the ceremony goes through, though. Right? Because the ceremony still goes through and he does become a brujo, but he accidentally summons Julian.
Yes, he does. And it's really sad because Julian just looks around and he's like, where the fuck am I? And he doesn't realize that he's dead. And then when Yadriel sees him, he's like, oh, you're Julian. You're that really popular guy from school. And, so then they just... I forgot why they're like tethered together though. Oh, because he tries to send him back, right? Like to like the afterlife
immediately.
And immediately. But then Julian doesn't want to because he has like this unfinished business, and he because he wants to make sure his friends are okay, and he wants to like understand like kind of what happened. Maybe not everything, but like just like a little bit of an inkling.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't want to leave, and so because Yadriel doesn't have consent for Julian to, pass on to the afterlife, he's unable to have him leave.
Yes. So they come up with this promise or a compromise that if Julian can help figure out what happened to Miguel. No, the other way around. If Yadriel can help figure out what happened to Julian and give him closure, then Julian will help Yadriel figure out what happened to his cousin.
Yeah. So yeah, that's their compromise. Because then also when he fails to send him to the afterlife, he also starting to second guess whether or not he is a a good brujo.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh my God, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. So that's also why they come to that compromise.
I think it's so funny that all of this serious stuff about literally his cousin's murder and Jules's murder are like coming up. And then it's like, okay, you know, we are going to find out who murdered you, but I have to go to school. It's like,
I know.
damn.
It's like, you know, this is really important, but I also have algebra at 2, so I have to go.
It's so funny because Jules is stuck on Yadriel and has to go everywhere Yadriel goes. And this bitch never went to school.
No, literally.
So he would literally just be there and be so disruptive. I think there was like a situation.
It's so interesting too, because even though Julian didn't really go to school because he was, you know, he was too cool for school. It was interesting to me to see how he reacted to people talking about him, because then Yadriel started to meddle a little bit. He was like, oh, have you seen Julian? Because he wanted to see if anybody knew like what happened in his last moments. And so he started to ask people, and then they would kind of like talk about him a certain way. And Julian would be like, he had anger issues. Like he would get angry so fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that. I forgot that because the first time he goes to the school, after he hears that, he leaves in like a very silent, uncharacteristically like shut down way. Even Yadriel's like, what the fuck? He's never quiet. Like, why is he like
I know,
this?
he's plotting something.
Yeah, but oh god, Julian was such a good character.
No, yeah, he really was. I really liked him. I didn't love the anger issues, but I did like his character as a whole. And I liked how he really cared about his friends, because he just wanted to see that his friends were okay. Because I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was with his friends like in his last memory.
Yes.
Before he like, you know, was quote unquote killed.
Yeah. Because I mean, Luca was getting jumped.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, yeah.
Jules was the one who stepped in. And I also didn't like the anger issues that he had, but I appreciated that the main character also didn't like the anger issues. You know, I appreciate that it wasn't just like Jules is just like that. Like after Jules had gotten violent the first time, which was the first time that Yadriel went to go confront Jules's friends and be like, hey, have any of you seen Julian? After that had happened, he basically moved a skateboard and threw it in a very aggressive way. And when they ended up getting back to Yadriel's home, Yadriel was like, you do that shit again? You're like down the toilet. I'm not even joking. And I fucking
I'm not
love
dealing
that.
with this again.
I love that.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that
place.
he stood his ground. Like I was happy that he showed that he was not okay with the way that he acted, because he would have outbursts, especially, and it's hard for Julian to be able to control himself, especially when he was like out in public, you know, with everybody else that couldn't see him, couldn't hear him. And so he was just being super loud and like low-key annoying. And poor Yadriel would have to be like talking to him, but not make it too obvious that he's talking to him.
But even like with him being an angry character, he was very caring about everyone. And I love the way he cared so much about Yadriel and like Yadriel's identity. Because there was one point, because he was really blunt too. There was one point where he was like, why are you even trying to prove to them that you're a guy? Like, what do you gain out of that? I was like, no, you know, I have to be a brujo. And it's like, no, you don't. You're already a brujo. Lady Death said so. You don't need to do that shit. And I fucking love that conversation that they had. And just...
Yeah, because then he also says, like, are you trying to prove them? Or are you trying to prove it to yourself?
Yeah.
And I like that it even gave Yadriel a bit of a perspective where he was like, does it even really matter? Because at the end of the day, like, there's, I don't know, like, it's family. Family is annoying. So sometimes even if it seems like they do 100% accept you, sometimes they just kind of like regress.
So they go on this hunt to figure out basically what happened to Julian. And they end up figuring out that he was jumped, and it was because he was trying to protect Luca. But then he just went missing. And Julian's friend group brings up like, oh, but he's not the only one. There's been a lot of teenagers that have been going missing. There's 4 now. And they start like piecing everything together that Julian's disappearance and murder has to do with Miguel's murder. Like there has to be a reason that both of them happen in the same way. And also Julian's necklace was found where Miguel had died. So when they figure out that there's this connection, they're like getting somewhere with like their investigation, but not fast enough, because Julian starts to become maligno, which is malignant, I think.
Yeah.
Which is something that happens to spirits that if they are in the living world for too long, then they basically stay in the state that they died in and are not themselves. And it sucks.
It's kind of like when a ghost becomes a poltergeist. It just becomes this evil thing.
But it sucks because this gets revealed after the first romantic moment that Yadriel and Julian have.
I was like, oh my God, he's going to lose it one day.
I know. And it fucking
the tension was high.
Okay, but did you think this was going to be a paranormal romance?
I want to say for the most part, yes. I did have an inkling because this kind of reminded me of a Supernatural episode where the character was being like tortured, like really badly tortured to the state where they were kind of not really there anymore. So they were like a spirit floating around because of the state of their body. So it did that came to my mind. When I forgot when, I don't think it was near the beginning. It was like further down, but I was like, maybe that's what's happening, because there's no way that this is going to end up with like what he's going to come only Dia de los Muertos and that's it. Like that's their love story.
I was going to be so upset because I didn't want this to end up being like the trope where what is it? Kill your gaze.
Kill your gaze, yeah.
That's what I thought it was going towards.
That, you know what? That came to my mind too. So that's why I was like, there's no way. Aiden Thomas would never.
So I was worried though.
He wouldn't do that to me.
I was so worried. But anyway, this is happening and Yadriel... Oh, fuck. There's also that fucking thing that Yadriel says because they're looking at each other and Jules is just looking at him and is like, why are you looking at me? What are you thinking about? And Yadriel's like, just something selfish. And it's like, you can tell that they're into each other. And Jules looks at his mouth. But then instead of like having a cute moment, he's like, can you like send me on my way? Like I'm ready now.
Oh, I know. I was so sad when he said that. And then Yadriel was kind of like, oh my God, like I can't just send him off. Like I have to make it special. Like I have to do things for him before he's like officially gone.
So they have like a day just for Julian where they could do whatever he wants. And he chooses to go to like this one like beach bonfire. And they steal a car together, and it's a crazy day. But,
honestly, busy day.
They are sitting and watching the sunset, and this is the day he's gonna go. And while they're sitting together, he gets closer.
It reminds me of that one. It reminds me of that SpongeBob episode.
Yes. I hate that you reference SpongeBob.
Squidward and SpongeBob are watching the sunset together, and he built a brick wall between them because he thinks SpongeBob's gonna blow up.
Oh my God.
Anyway, unrelated.
Yeah, but they do kiss at this moment because it's Julian who initiates it, and then he says, how does he say it? ¿Te puedo robar un beso?
Yes, that's what he said. Wow, you remembered it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It means, can I steal a kiss from you? And it's really, really sweet.
And he did.
And he did. But they go home, and it's Dia de los Muertos, and Yadriel makes like a little ofrenda, which is an altar, for Julian, and is ready to send him off. And it's really, really sad, but he has to do it anyway. But it doesn't work. And he's confused why it doesn't. But it's already too late because it's midnight, and his spirit starts to like seize up and basically be in the state of death, which is like the state of what his physical body is supposedly at.
Yeah. But he also had moments, Julian had moments where he almost like malfunctioned. It would like be like a glitch. Like he would just go into like a state of pain, and then he would like disappear, but then he would reappear, and it was like, oh, okay, well, that was weird. Weird. But yeah.
I don't remember the beats of this part, but I do know that they go to the cemetery, right? Because it's connected to where he lives.
So Julian disappears. Like he's gone. Bye. And so I believe Yadriel and Maritza?
Yeah, Maritza.
They're like trying to find him, if I remember that correctly. And so they go to the cemetery. For what reason? Can't remember.
They were gonna contact Lady Death and ask her. Oh no, they were gonna either contact Lady Death or the mom and ask for like help.
I think it was Lady Death.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But yeah, and then there was like a little detail that was sprinkled in from close to the beginning, where the abuela would sometimes tell like a story, like a myth of it was a dagger, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember exactly what she would say about the dagger?
The dagger was basically belonged to Balaam, which was someone who could commit 4 forbidden kills. And if you were killed in this way, then you can't come back in Dia de los Muertos. And if these 4 forbidden kills were like happened, then that monster would come out, and Zibalba, which is the person in charge of death, would basically not be in charge of it anymore. So the reason why Julian was glitching out and why they could not contact Miguel was because they were stabbed and supposed to be killed with this dagger. So when Yadriel is brought upon these people, because it's 4 of them, right, that are there.
Yeah.
It's 2 killed.
Because they needed a certain amount of sacrifices, no?
They needed 4. And they had...
Oh, was it 4?
Yeah, they had 2 killed teenagers, and those were some that went missing. They had Miguel, who was dead, and they had Julian, but he wasn't dead. He was close to death, but not yet.
Yeah. Dude, when that happened, I was like, oh, wait, you mean he's not a ghost?
It's kind of funny, because I was okay with that. Like, I'm completely okay that he's still alive. It kind of makes sense, I guess.
I can't believe it, because I literally thought that you were going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this whole time they made me believe that he was dead. Only for him to not be dead this whole time?
It would have been funny if Yadriel was disappointed. Like, oh, so you're telling me I don't have a ghost boyfriend?
You mean...
No, I mean, no,
it's
fine.
You mean to tell me you're a regular man? Ugh.
Suddenly, Julian, I'm busy every single day we were going to go out. I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. You're too real for me.
Too.
No, but I thought it was so good, because there was also mention of a long time ago there was brujos who could bring back the dead. Like, no one is as strong as old, like the original brujos were. So during this, like, I guess, reveal at the end, which is the person who's trying to summon back the monster is his uncle Catrice.
Yeah, plot twist.
I was shocked. I wasn't
that shocked. I feel like it wasn't that surprising. Come on, Tío. Have you not seen Lion King?
Yeah, that's kind of what
Have you not read
that's...
Hamlet by my good boy Shakespeare?
Dude, his
Which,
name was Catrice.
you know, the Lion King was kind of okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
His name was Catrice, and I was like, oh my gosh, like cicatrice, like scar. Isn't that? I was
exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It was the Lion King. It was Hamlet. That's what it was.
Thank you.
So I wasn't surprised that the Theo turned out to be shady.
It sucks though because the Theo just wanted power. Like he just wanted to be recognized, and this was the only way that he could.
As a brujo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he does.
It does suck. I did feel for him, and it's always refreshing when I guess a villain. Like their journey makes sense, you know. Like I understand how we got here, so that's always good to see.
But
I was sad for him though.
He doesn't win the fight; he loses and gets dragged. No.
He hella loses. Actually, that whole fight was very quick. But
yeah, I don't even remember how he lost, honestly. But he does lose. But it sucks because Miguel is dead, and Julian is close to death. And Maritza is a bruja, but she dropped like the thing that she needs to heal. At the very end, Julian is talking to Yadriel and is like, oh, todo valió la pena. Like everything was worth it, basically. And he just keeps saying like, oh, estoy bien, todo está bien. And then
like, I'm fine, yeah, everything's fine.
He slowly passes away. And it sucks because Maritza comes up and Yadriel's like, go ahead, heal him. And it's like, no, his heart stopped beating. I can't do anything. I was so sad. I thought that's okay. Like I said, no brain cells while I'm reading these because I thought that's how it was gonna end. But then fucking Yadriel is like, no, bitch, I'm gonna bring these bitches back to life. All 4 of them, the other 2 included. It's like the other 2 in the corner. Them bitches too.
Already fucking rotting. I'll bring you back.
But Yadriel basically contacts Lady Death and like asks for help. And she basically is like, nah, I can't do anything, but you can. And Yadriel brings all 4 of them back to life, but then puts their own life in danger. Yadriel becomes close to death. And it's funny because Julian wakes up and sees, Maritza like over Yadriel's body and trying to bring Yadriel back or heal Yadriel. And Yadriel's family comes up. And I think it's so funny because it's like, oh, who the fuck is this bitch? Like Julian over trying to cover Yadriel. And, he could have just said, like, I'm a friend or anything. It's like, no, it's mi querido, which is like my lover.
Dude, I was literally, I wanted to like disappear when he said that. I was like, bro.
Because that's such an old
get
thing
me
to
out of
say,
this planet,
too.
stat.
My God. I was like, he was embarrassed though after he said it, but he didn't take it back.
He was like, no, I meant what I said.
That's my querido right there. Bitch.
Yeah, bitch. No, dude. Oh my God. I literally disassociated for a second. I mean, it's cute. Don't get me wrong, but I still disassociated.
I know. I had to stop for a bit too when he said that.
But
they all end up in the hospital and they're all in separate rooms. And it's funny because when Jules wakes up, he's around his brother, his friends, and he's like, "Where's Yadriel? Where's Yads? Where is he?" And they're like, no, you literally got stabbed, bitch. Like, you need to not get up.
Go sit down.
And then the same thing, when Yadriel wakes up, he's surrounded by family, but he's like, where's Julian? Because he thought Julian had died. And it's like, no, you saved them all. Yadriel gets up and runs to Julian's room, and they both hug, and they kiss for the first time in, like, their corporeal state.
Yeah. And the way it should be.
Yeah. And it's just, that's pretty much it. That's basically the end. Yeah. There's like a little epilogue at the end of Yadriel finally having like his initiation as a brujo. But yeah.
It was sweet.
Yeah, they end up together and happily ever after. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought their love story was really cute. I loved that Julian he was just so accepting, right? He like did not judge Yadriel at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when Yadriel felt very insecure about like his oh my god, sorry, I'm like his bandages and all that, like he was just very accepting. And
there was even that one scene where Julian was like, "You go in that men's restroom."
I know, you're so right. Oh, dude. He's so supportive. He was like, do it.
He was
go in there.
So cute. Well, what are your overall thoughts?
I want you to go first because I went first last time. But you don't have anything else you want to say?
No, because I feel like it connects to my overall thoughts.
Okay, go ahead.
It took me a while to read this story because I actually had the physical copy and I actually like wanted to sit down and read this one because of how much I enjoyed the Sunbearer trials. I was like, damn. We have our friend Melissa who listens to the podcast. She would bring up Cemetery Boys to me often and she would be like, oh, you would love that. You would love that book. So I knew.
Oh, she did the same thing to me. I didn't know she did the same thing to you.
Yeah. So I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't know how much I was going to like it. And I will be honest. I don't know. It's because I was busy. It took me a while to get into it. I think I got hooked after Julian got introduced. Like that's when I was more invested in the story. But overall, I loved all the characters. I thought the dynamics between everyone was very realistic. Like I said, I didn't know how much I needed like Latino representation in a book until I started reading it because I fucking love that shit so much. The relationship between, I didn't talk about it much, but the relationship between the dad and Yadriel was so fucking real. It almost made me cry.
Oh, dude, it was a little too real.
Yeah.
It was so like realistic for our families too. Like just the way that some dads are.
Yeah, very emotionally unavailable. But
literally.
He had to be emotionally available because the mom was no longer part of the picture. So it's like, damn, that's too close to home. So it was really well written. I would read this again. I would buy this and put it in my library so that my kids can read it. Like I want this book to be talked about more in my circles. I think overall I would give this 4.9 out of 5. Thank you.
Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, I guess I was right, technically.
Yeah, I would maybe round it up to a 5 if I'm being generous.
Shut up. You're just being difficult right now.
I loved Julian. Thank you. I just want to make that last comment.
I also loved Julian. I really liked the story. It's weird because I feel the same way as you because I was still really busy when I did read this book because I had a lot of homework. I just had a lot of homework. When I started the book, I did like it, and it's not that I didn't connect with it right away, but it did take me a second for me to be like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in this world now. Because I think I also hit a reading slump, but I can't remember what I read before it, where I was like, I don't want to read anything right now.
Yeah. Was it Lore? Olympus?
Lore? Alexander Bracken?
No,
hello?
not that one. I know you reread it weekly, but not that one.
I know I don't put that out there. Don't embarrass me. No, I can't remember. I really loved the journey. I loved this whole story. I loved like the idea of Yadriel, struggling to, first of all, with his identity, trying to be accepted by his family, and just the whole like family dynamic. I also really loved his relationship with his dad because I get that. I see that. I feel that. I loved his relationship with his abuela. I loved him and Maritza. And I really loved the romance between him and Julian. It's so funny because there were moments where I was like, wait, but like, is it wrong? Is it wrong for me to be rooting for him and a ghost? Because I don't know. Because I really for a second thought that maybe they would only meet up in Dia de los Muertos.
Would you have not liked that if that was the case?
It's not. No, I probably would have, but I would have been a little sad. I would have been very sad about it. But I am glad that Julian is very much alive. I love, like Cheli said, being able to connect with the story, like seeing like words, seeing things that the characters were doing, and just knowing what they're talking about. I think that we should probably read more like Latinx books so we can, feel. Yeah, for sure. Like, so we could feel more, like we're being represented here. I loved this book. I still prefer Sunbearer Trials though, because I feel like you remember when we were talking about these hollow vows, and you were like, the 5 is different. Like these hollow vows is up here. And these Twisted Bonds is down here, but it's still a 5 technically. So I think I would also give this a 5 out of 5 because it was just it was so good. It was so good,
dude. It was so good.
Not my favorite Aiden Thomas book though, but
not my highest 5, but still a 5.
Not in all of my 5s, it's like middle, maybe lower. I'm not really sure right now because I don't know how many books I've given a 5 to.
We're going to get to the point where it's like, this is a 5 out of 5, but in the 5, it did get a 1 out of 5. It's like, what?
But it's still a 5 out of 5. Okay, trust me.
Oh my God, I'm so relieved that you like this book. I was scared because the way you said that you forgot about it felt very dismissive. So I was like,
Well, I mean, I wanted to be honest because I honestly felt like, oh man, am I even able to lead any conversation? Because like it just wasn't. It wasn't in my brain, but once you start talking about it, like things come back, you know?
Was so good.
I start remembering.
Oh wait, shout out to that scene where they stole the car and when they put the keys in the ignition, it was just loud reggaeton. Thank you.
Oh my God. Shout out.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for listening to us, whether it be podcast form, which is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or anywhere you get your podcasts on. Thank you so much. If you could leave a rating and a review, specifically a rating of 5 stars, because that really does help.
Oh, that would be so sweet. Yeah, because I think that we would be more highly recommended if we did receive more 5 stars and just more engagement on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music or wherever else.
And if you want to tell your friends, loved ones, hated ones, family,
your rivals,
if you
your
want to
paranormal romance.
Thank you. Your paranormal
romances.
Boyfriends. Only ghost boyfriends. Boyfriends that are corporeal, don't tell them.
Please don't tell them. I'm embarrassed.
But if you want to tell anyone about us, the best type of exposure is through word of mouth. If you are listening and watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. If you can like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We are still trying to catch up with our YouTube videos, but it does mean a lot if you are watching us through there.
This isn't going to have a video format, though. It's just going to be audio based.
Yeah, but it's okay. Just close your eyes and imagine.
Imagine
Weird thing they hear in a YouTube video. Okay,
Literally,
guys, close your eyes.
Do you see me now? Okay, great.
If you would like to follow us on social media, we are very, very active on TikTok. You can follow us on @thebookfix, THEBOOKFIX. We also have an Instagram where we are not as active, but it is almost a new year. And we do want to be more active on social media. Mm-hmm. That one is The Book Fix Pod, THEBOOKFIXPOD. Thank you. We usually end these episodes with a dice roll. The dice roll, if it is an odd number, then we read a negative review off of Goodreads. But if it is an even number, we read a positive review off of Goodreads. This is how we end our episodes. After we read the review, we do not say anything and we just let it stay in the air.
Yeah, because, we just want to include other people's opinions because I think it's fun because, it's completely unrelated to us.
Yes. So why don't you give us a number?
Okay, so I'm going to roll a dice on a phone app. Okay, I got a 5.
A 5, negative review. Okay, so this is a review by Helen, who gave it a 1 star. And she wrote, "This book might have been good if I had read this in my freshman year of high school. The way the author used orbs to describe eyes, that's where I draw the line. So Tumblr, it's unbearable. The characters are annoying and it was very predictable. This book would have had a better impact if it seriously addressed social issues rather than bring up as many as possible without any sort of further analysis. Also, I get Julian is supposed to be a himbo, but why does he have to say everything in threes? It is all I could think about. Filler scenes dragged on for an unreasonably long time, while the action and intense moments were resolved within paragraphs. Also, this book took place in like 2 days, and they are this in love with each other. True insta love for me. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for listening to our episode, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I don't want to say anything about it. We don't talk about the comments ever. I mean, it's not like we pause this.
No.
Deep 3-hour conversation about it after.
I'm sorry, you forgot the word meaningful. Deep, meaningful conversation.